Hi, I'm Kenya Prado here with Miss Mitchell to talk about scheduling in the library. So, Miss Mitchell, could you tell me a little bit more about scheduling?
Yes, we will be in the library for about 2 weeks. We'll be here until next Thursday, and we'll be meeting with everyone as a class. And each counselor will be calling over their individual students, going over their transcripts, going over the courses that the teacher selected, and trying to figure out what's the best option for next year, either based on their interests or their career goals.
When are these course selection cards due?
The cards are due to the teachers whenever the teachers say they are, and they just need to make sure that they have them when they come here. So definitely students want to make sure that they put down their first 8 electives in number of 1 through 8, because there are many students that just bring the card and they haven't picked any electives. So if they don't pick them, we will pick them for them. So I'm sure that's not what they want. So it's first choice, second choice, third choice, etc.
How should they pick their electives? Like, do you have an advice? Like, maybe certain classes are more for them, or like, do you guys give advice for them?
Yeah. So their teachers will pick like their core classes. Like, so if you had honors English, the teachers can decide if they want to recommend you for that next year, or if you didn't have it, if you've been doing well in the classes they will recommend. So it's English, science, social studies, and math. Students can pick their electives, but again, if students already know what career they want to go into or are interested in at the time, then we'll pick some electives that are kind of related to that.
Okay, so should they allow their parents to know about these? Do you think they should have conversation with their parents?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, because they're the ones that are going to be calling next year, if it's not right. So definitely want to have some conversations with parents about electives, because sometimes like students will say, "Oh, I want to be a doctor," and I'm looking at their science grades like, "Oh, like, are you serious? Like, you got C's and D's in all these science classes," and then they say, "I don't even like science." So maybe you need to pick something else, So these are conversations that they really need to have with their parents.
If a student feels as though they want to make an adjustment or they regret putting the class on their list, can they make adjustments?
They can make adjustments. I'm not quite sure when the window is for them to. I know if they want to make some adjustments up until next Friday, they definitely can. So what happens is we have the students pick all the classes. Then Mr. Brenner, our assistant principal, will run a report and kind of do what's called a tally to see how many students pick certain classes. And then if there are classes that maybe don't have as many selections, then those classes won't run for the next year. So he'll do that run just to make sure that he has enough teachers and sections and things of that nature. So as long as we can make the changes before that, that would be great. So maybe, no later than next Friday or the Friday after that.
Do some courses require specific classes before you're able to join them?
Yep. So a number of the classes have what's called prerequisites. So you have to have taken another course before that. So let's say, obviously, if you want to take Spanish 2, you need to take Spanish 1. If you want to take graphic design, you would have had to take visual arts 1. If you want to take, let's say, a computer science class or one of the engineering courses, you may have to have a certain grade in math and a teacher recommendation. So things like that. A lot of recommendations from teachers, though.
Okay, is there anything more you would like to add?
I just want to make sure again that students, look over those forms, because if they don't pick their classes, we're going to pick them. And sometimes I'm going to put you some classes that I know you just don't want to take. Just be really serious and realistic about your goals. If you're a student that feels that maybe you've been overlooked for an honors class and the teacher didn't recommend you, then talk to the teacher, talk to your counselor, kind of see realistically, what can I do between now and the end of the year to see what I can do to be recommended. Also, the students who are juniors, what courses that they pick for next year, especially if they're college bound, are very, very important. So they want to start the end the year on a very good note as far as trying to get their average as high as they can.
So is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, want to make sure that students, again, just try to decide, even if they don't know what career they want to go into, to pick electives that are appropriate for that. And our juniors especially, this is going to be the last year that you can get your grade point up as high as you can, especially if you're trying to apply to some competitive four-year colleges. So they want to end the school year on a high note. And then colleges will be looking at the courses that they're taking this year, which they consider the most important year. And they also will look to see what kind of classes they're taking for the next year. So they want to make sure that your schedule looks consistent over the year. So for example, if you've been taking 4 honors courses or a combination of AP and honors courses, colleges want to see that you have the same, number of courses for a senior year. If a student is in tech school and they want to go into nursing, this happens a lot too. You'll have somebody who has taken cosmetology, they've taken culinary, they've taken all these, these different things, try to be as consistent as possible. But, people change their minds. So at least they've been able to kind of dibble and dabble and see what they can do. But tech school is a wonderful opportunity for students that want to get a trade or a skill in a certain program that they can get certification and start working right after school, or they can actually go to a 2-year or 4-year college. So it's a lot of different options with that too.
If a student comes to a guidance counselor and they see that their course, like they don't agree with it, either because they're not good at it or they shouldn't be in it, do you guys have the authority of changing it?
It really depends on when they ask us. Of course, if they ask us in the first couple of weeks, we can. There will be like a brief drop ad period sometime around the end of June, because the plan is, from what Mr. Brenner is saying, is that we're going to try to get these schedules to you guys before you leave this year, just so you'll have them. And then if there's some tweaks that we need to do in June, nothing major, that we can do the tweaks at that time. But definitely, we will not be making any changes in September. So, everybody wants to make sure that they get in contact with us before, we leave for the summer.
Okay, well, changing out of the topic of schedule changing, so we have heard that there's going to be a different system for senior privilege next year. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Oh, yeah. So that's been the number one question. So the senior privilege doesn't have anything to do with Keystone testing. You have to have 19 credits when you enter into senior year, and you can either come in late or you can leave early. And so some students, if we're looking at their transcript and they have all their requirements in and they want to leave a little early or come in a little late, we can definitely put that into their schedule. So the only catch to that is if you are a student that's planning on going to a 4-year college and you are going to a school that's a competitive college, because there's so much competition that's going on, highly selective colleges, we really recommend that you don't take any more than 1 period to leave early or come in late, because colleges want to see that your schedule is very, very competitive, that is consistent, to what you've been having for the last couple of years. So there's a form that has to be signed by the parents, and the students bring it back and we put it in.
Are the parents aware of the consequences or the challenges that they may face if they choose to take both of them?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. On the form, it clearly states, that they can have this many, early or late. And it's a clear paragraph that says that, if your student is applying to a competitive school, that these are the pros and cons. But we'll also be making phone calls, 1, to make sure that signature is legit, and 2, just to make sure that the parents can get any questions answered that they have, because we want to make sure. And it's not that we're trying to ruin anybody's life or anything like that, but we just want to make sure that, students are well on the path of whatever career choice that they make when they leave here.
Okay, well, I think that's all. Thank you very much. And that's it. Thank you.